Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. Tran and I got a lot to cover in this video, a lot of news coming out of this weekend. Some guys, deservedly so moving on to the NFL. Christo Conti putting the lukewarm endorsement on Tom Herman's name. We're going to touch on all that in this video. But first, before we get started, it's on you guys to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. The love and appreciation we get on a regular basis from you all does not go unnoticed. We're very thankful for that. And every time you guys hit that like button and help push us forward in the YouTube algorithm, we're very, very thankful for it. So Tran,
Yes,
I
sir.
believe as of now, so adding on to Sam Cosmi and Caden Stearns, I believe now we have Taquan Graham, Chris Brown, and then as of today, Joseph Osai opting out to the NFL. So I'll start with you just in terms of your overall thoughts. We'll focus on these three because we've already reacted to Cosmi and Caden Stearns. So we want to focus on Graham, Brown, and Osai, but just want to get your overall thoughts on their decision to opt out of whatever bowl game we may or may not have and pursue their NFL dreams.
I mean, we knew that Osai. We knew just with the production that he's had, he was gone. I mean, I think you and I both agree in the fact that if you're getting a first 2 round grade guaranteed money, you got to cash a check. So I'm not him not doing a meaningless bowl game. It doesn't it doesn't surprise me. Chris Brown has played great. Pro Football Focus loves him, and I think he'll start going up some draft boards. I expect him to be like a 4th to maybe 6th round pick between that period, but he'll make a team. He's very durable in the run. He's a sure-handed tackler. He does play the flats very well. We saw that with that Hilaire hit last year. He's I don't think he'll test as well as Caden Stearns. I don't think he will, but he'll check a lot of boxes for a team, and he'll make a team. I think Taquan Graham played fantastic the last half of the season, from probably the OU game on. I think he's played probably our best interior defensive line play. And you know how highly I think of Keandre Colburn, but I thought so. Him leaving, him being and not coming back as a super senior, not extremely upset about him taking that chance
Right.
at all.
Yeah.
I from a selfish perspective, I would love to see Keandre and him go at it one more time, those two. But him going to the Senior Bowl, and we've seen some of our defensive linemen make some money at the Senior Bowl by them just blowing up I can only think of who was it that blew up the center from Alabama? Was it Puna?
It was Puna.
Yeah. Puna didn't get drafted, but I think with Graham's size, I think he'll get a late round draft pick.
Well, I think what helps even a guy like a Taquan Graham, he had a much better senior year than Malcolm Roach did, and Malcolm Roach didn't get drafted, then he makes a 53 on the Saints and gets is in a rotation there, right, for a team that is going to be a number 1 or 2 seed in the NFC. So when you see the translation of that, you brought up Puna Ford, Charles Omenihu the year before for the Houston Texans. Texas is developing a really solid kind of reputation with the defensive line. Mm-hmm. And I think with Taquan Graham, his size, strength, and the numbers he put up really good numbers his senior year. I think that's going to get people's attention. I think he will get drafted. I really do. I think he'll get drafted. I'm going to have to study in terms of the class and his peers, because I think a lot goes into, hey, who are you getting drafted against, or who are they evaluating you against?
Right.
But Taquan Graham checks all the boxes because he got better. Right. He wasn't, I didn't consider him a draftable football player even a year ago or so. He was one of the biggest people, probably top 5 people on this team that benefited from the scheme change. And we kind of saw this happen in the bowl game last year, where it was like, oh, like he does have some pass rush ability. Like he's not just the guy that's going to get stalemates and do all that type of stuff. Like when they let him kind of go more one-on-one and use his strength and athleticism, not only can he get home,
Yeah.
but he can finish. Like he actually was able to finish at the quarterback and make plays and get fumbles. Like his handprints were all over, so many of these football games this year. He was a team captain. So respected by his peers, guys that, others looked up to, and had some very, very young, talented players behind him. And I thought coming into the season, I said, it's a matter of time before Alfred Collins passes Taquan Graham on the depth chart. And then Alfred Collins came out like game busters to start the season. And he's had a good freshman year.
Yeah.
But it also elevated Taquan Graham's level of play. You see what I'm saying? So I've been very, very impressed with them. They're coming off of a defensive line that was I think number 1 or 2 graded defensive line in all the Big 12. It's either us or OU, because OU's jumped up there pretty good lately with the return of Ronnie Perkins. But Taquan Graham was in that 2017 class, so he's been here all 4 years. It's not like he's not necessarily declaring early. The only person that's really declaring early is Joseph Osai in terms of, I know that people are frozen right now, but true, another year of eligibility. Joseph Osai is leaving after 3 years. Chris Brown's been here since 2016 because he redshirted. So he was actually under Charlie Strong, right? And got a redshirt year, played another one, got better and better and better.
Yeah, he benefited from the change as well. He was the one that Ash pointed out. Mm-hmm. Number 1 person was that Chris Brown's all over the place. That's the person. That number 15 is who I've had my eye on all off season. So for him to be the top safety in the
Big 12,
in the Big 12 Pro Football Focus, NFL scouts definitely look into that. So they want to see if you're a leader on the team. He was a captain. They want to see if you have any off-field issues. Didn't have any off-field issues. He wants to see if you have tape. He put out tape this year. Now, last thing he needs to check the boxes is either the pro day or the combine if he's invited.
Flex on him, CB.
Mm-hmm.
And I know so many Texas fans, they were getting annoyed or getting frustrated with Chris Brown and the flexing and the celebrating and all that type of stuff. And I certainly did when it was 20-yard run and he tackles the guy. But
when we're down by 20,
when you're down,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But one of the things, and I didn't really understand this until I heard the brother talk. That's how he gets himself going. Like he doesn't care. Like his whole mentality. It's like for those of us who grew up watching the WWF, now the WWE, you have a persona, right? Like a person that some guys need that. They got to gas themselves up, and that's Chris Brown. He is, I forgot his nickname. Y'all got to tell me in the comments if he calls himself like Big CB or whatever. But like that's how he thinks of himself on the field, and that's what he does to get himself going. And his tape, like when you look at angle of pursuit, all this type of stuff, he was on point. Also, another thing that surprised me with Chris Brown, I thought of all the guys that we have in our defensive backfield, he played the deep ball the best. Because I never saw anybody moss him. He was always great at knocking the ball away, and he didn't freak out. He didn't panic in coverage. Now, he didn't get tested nearly as much as, say, our corners on the perimeter.
Yeah.
Different animal. I'm talking about more like stuff down the seam and on post routes. But when he was challenged, he came through, and I think that attributed it to his grading.
Look at the Oklahoma State game. There was a couple times where they targeted him specifically, and he had pass breakups on it.
That was the game that came to mind when you said that.
Even though the last one was a pass interference, but well, it doesn't go down as that in the stat book.
Chris Brown, I'm just very, very proud. I mean, we've talked so much about the lack of player development in our program, but that's actually what good looks like in terms of development. And that energy that he has of gassing himself up, that's what's going to get him playing on Sundays, believe it or not. And I know not everybody loves it. They don't like the style and the flex on him, but like if that's what gets him going to knock people out and be that enforcer over the middle, that's what you want from your safety, right? That's what you want from a core special teamer. And that's what Chris Brown can give you. Let's move
Last
on
but
to
not
our
least, no,
yeah.
let's move on to. Speaking of development, didn't he come in as a 3-star, right?
He was a 4-star out
He
of
was a
Conroe.
4-star?
He
Okay.
was a 4-star, but I think he was like the 12th rated. Joseph Osai we're talking about now, guys. I think he was like the 12th or 13th rated defensive end. He got up to a 4-star, and he was more so people like us and A&M at the time were kind of hot on the trail when Joseph Osai committed to Texas. But boy, that Iowa State game in 2018 when we first got to take a look at 46, it's like, who is that? Is that Malik? Right? Like, did Malik come back on the team? Like, like, and we're blitzing him now. Like, what's going on? And to see his physical development, they showed a video of him when he committed to Texas, and he was still kind of skinny and everything.
Yeah.
And you
I
look
love
at Joseph,
seeing the side by
yeah,
sides.
I am so proud, and I'm as a fan, and this is just an individual standpoint, seeing him grow as a young man and as a leader and embracing greatness and wanting to be great. And I know all these guys are disappointed they didn't get a Big 12 championship, not making like unfulfilled team expectations. But damn it, Joseph Osai did everything in his power and then some.
All 3 of these guys did.
All of them.
Yeah,
but Osai,
he's a game breaker.
Yeah,
he's a game breaker. And when we talk about Texas not putting people in the NFL, we like to look at the first couple rounds, and especially the first round. We haven't put anyone in the first round since Malcolm Brown, right? Or was it Kenny Vaccaro? Which one?
No, it's Malcolm. You're right.
It's Malcolm Brown. Okay. He's going to be a first rounder, and it's all because of his effort, his motor, his drive. You got to look at the way that the NFL is going to. The offenses out there are mimicking what college offenses are doing, trying to put up big numbers, get people in space. This is the type of linebacker that people drool over. Someone who you could drop into coverage, who can cover the running back out of the backfield, who can rush the passer, who can get that dip underneath the left tackle and get the pressure on the quarterback. I have no issue with him declaring. I knew he was going to declare, especially after he put on the tape. I put pretty lofty goals on him, saying I think he's going to push the 10 sack this season limit, which the last person that did it was, who was it? Zed Reed?
I think it was Zed Reed.
Yeah.
Minihue got close. I think he got like
9.5 or something like that. And I think he finished with 8 or 7.5, one of those. If it's 7.5, I'm rounding up to 8. But he did it in a shortened season where he didn't play 3 games, 2. Counting the Kansas game, counting the 2.
And his pressures too. Like the sack numbers only tell such a small part of the story because the defensive, everybody was getting sacks. Like I don't even know how many sacks Jomo got, or Jacoby Jones, or Alfred Collins,
of him getting that pressure and them stepping up in the pocket.
Yeah, like everybody was getting in on the action. And then later in the season when we started blitzing DeMarvion Overshown more, and you saw how they started to play off of each other and they started running games on people with their speed and ability to cover multiple holes. He's a phenomenal football player. And, one of these defensive coordinators in the NFL draft, I do think if his health, as long as his health checks out and he doesn't have like any type of issue with any of the testing or measurables, which he's going to go 110%, he should be a top 20 pick. I see that for him. I think he can be a top 20 pick. I think Matt Miller or Mel, I know Mel Kiper has him on the big board, and I think Matt Miller had him at 16, I believe, the last I saw. So I'm speaking that for my boy Joseph
to
Osai.
existence.
I'm speaking into existence. I think he can be a top 20 pick.
We don't even need to do
potentially
that. As long as he shows up and does, we don't have to worry about effort for him. So we know he's going to show up on that day. So I feel he's going to be a first round pick, and I feel that Sam Cosmi is gonna push for a first round pick too.
I agree. When they show their highlights when they get drafted, just put on the Oklahoma State tape. And there's and because that's the game where it's like, oh, he's dominant.
Oh yeah.
Right. Like
put on that both Oklahoma tapes.
Yeah. Oklahoma game as well, right?
He was fantastic in the Oklahoma game.
Chasing dudes down 30 yards downfield.
Yeah.
Like just craziness. So Joseph Osai, best of luck to you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Brown, thank you. Taquan
Yes,
Graham, thank you. Sam Cosmi, thank you. Caden Stearns, thank you. As fans, we got to be appreciative of what these guys have given the program, what they've given their teammates. And, I know some people reached out and said, hey, we got a lot of captains that are down, that are either left or, in Derek Kerstetter's case, have decided to move on, or I'm sorry, not move on, he got injured, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, is this guys, there's what, one game left potentially in the season that's a bowl game, either the Cheez-It Bowl or the Texas Bowl. As I said before, you're building for
the
2021.
Alamo Bowl. I heard the Alamo Bowl too.
Whatever bowl it is, I don't really care.
Yeah.
But whatever bowl it is, it's no different than the last couple bowls we've had, where it's like, hey, what are we doing to build for 2021 now? Just like you saw the second half of the Kansas State game. The second half of the Kansas State game should have been a preview, outside of Sam Ehlinger playing. That should have been pretty much a preview of what you're going to see from Texas, at least to start the season in 2021, and what you want to see before you face Arkansas, right? So I'm just more on this line of, now, is it going to be BJ Foster replacing Chris Brown? Are we going to see a tandem in the bowl game of BJ Foster and Jaron Thompson? Like, everyone was so coming at us so heavy about Caden Stearns leaving, and I'm like, sign me up for seeing Jaron Thompson play. Let's see what we got. And weren't we impressed? Weren't we happy that he wasn't it valuable for wasn't it valuable for Texas and the staff to get that data on Jaron Thompson? Wasn't it valuable for the staff for Andre Carrick to get to play? And let's get the data on if he can be our guy moving forward. And he played very well. Like Jake Majors, now we know he can play. Like, there's other people that have been practicing their asses off that are ready to go. And we got to look, the season's over from 2020 standpoint. But the evaluation period goes in 2021 now, because we got to get ready, because this staff ain't going to be here if they don't fix it next year. And we're going to get to that. But whether it's BJ Foster, whether you look at Taquan Graham now, Tyler Owens, but yeah, even going to the defensive line, right? Taquan Graham's out. All right, Alfred Collins, you're a starter now. Welcome. Who's mad about that?
I'm not.
I want to see Alfred Collins next to Coburn now.
I want to see Vernon Broughton.
Vernon Broughton. Let's
throw him out there.
Yeah, throw him out there. Let's go. We're missing one person. Oh, Chris Pratt. We covered Chris and Osai. So Osai is the big hole, because the drop off at his position. So you're now looking at, all right, do we play, like right now, Ojomo and Jacoby Jones have kind of been rotating. So do you throw Jacoby Jones over there and then rotate him with like Reese Latau, and if Prince Dorba is ready to play, I'm not sure if he's ready to go, or
I mean, we have to see some snaps with Prince Dorba out there. I mean, we got him as the Osai replacement, and we have Jatavion Sanders coming in too. I think he's an early signee, so hopefully we can get him in before, just to see bowl game prep, so he could see what possibly could be his position, because I know they're thinking of possibly wide receiver or
tight end
or defense. I think with his size and his speed, I think he's almost a perfect replacement for Osai. You just have to deal with the bumps and bruises of him learning the position at the college level. I would also say I brought in Tyler Owens too. If you want speed and you want your freaks out there, unleash him.
Yeah.
Unleash the speed. He's going to do exactly what Overshone did. He's going to play too fast for a little bit. But you got to deal. He's going to learn how to break things down. I mean, he's a smart kid. He's fast. He's an athlete, and he's big. Isn't he? What, 220? I know Osai is what, 240.
Mm-hmm.
But no offense to Osai, he doesn't have Tyler Owens' speed. So I mean, just this is your point where you can actually just throw stuff out there to see what you got.
Completely agree. It will help the kids so much that you have going into next season with them seeing themselves. I say this on this channel all the time. It makes a difference when you're watching somebody else on tape versus when you're watching yourself on tape.
Mm-hmm.
You can make corrections. My headset is jumping in and out. I hope you can still hear me okay.
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, it makes a difference. And I'm confident. I mean, we've seen this staff going to bowl games before with replacement guys or whoever, and they come out and ball, especially with the extra prep and everything. So let these guys move on. And what fans also have to understand, in a weird year in COVID, they don't have as much time as you think you do to clear off all the injuries and stuff and get their bodies ready for the combine and pro days and all that type of stuff. They got to get going pretty quick. So if you're not playing any meaningful football, go ahead and get your body right and let your school replace you now. I'd rather have the data now.
February. Mm-hmm. It's the last week in February, first week in March. So yeah, you got 3 months, less than 3 months to actually prep for one day. I mean, yeah, they'll have a pro day after that, but still, I mean, if you're invited to the combine, that's the one that you want to. That's the one you want to show out at.
I'm excited for those guys. So real quick, anybody else? Because we did have some guys coming back. So I think you had mentioned to me before we started. Josh Thompson announced he's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay. So that's good news. Especially, and I think that's a good decision by him. Up and down year for Josh. It's his first, but to me, I think this was his first time playing outside corner too. Mm-hmm. They moved him out there, so learning a new position. I think he'll be even better in 2021, and team captain, somebody that'll give us leadership, help us out. We got some veterans back there, so glad to see him back. Brendan Schooler, I believe, on Instagram announced he was going to take advantage of the super senior and come back. So we're going to have a super senior with Brendan Schooler. And I know I gave them a hard time for how they were using him. It's not that they were using him, it's how, right? Like, hey, the go route's 50 yards down the field where he's wearing a knee brace. It's probably not the move. There are some things that he's really good at. Special teams.
He's great. He's a great
special
gunner.
teamer.
Yeah.
And then bubble screens out wide, more of the possession stuff, getting guys to utilize their skill sets appropriately. So good news seeing him back. Get well soon, Derek Kerstetter. Mm-hmm. Tran, what are you thinking there? You think he's probably going to opt back in and become a super senior at this point with the injury?
I would think so, honestly. I would think that he would come back again, because I think that injury is definitely not a red flag, but it's a dark cloud over his
career would be over.
Yes.
Pretty much if so. I'd like to see him end up right.
Mm-hmm.
And that would buy us a lot of time at right tackle too. And now I don't know what his recovery timeline is or anything like that. We'll have to see. But because it was a really, really bad injury.
Yep.
But I would probably guess he's back.
It's probably around. So Dak is already walking on his. yes, that doesn't mean he's cutting or running or anything like that, but
Yeah,
that's only
progress.
been what, 2 months.
Yeah.
So they'll let him walk on his foot for about a month, and then they'll start doing light jogging. Then from light jogging, then they'll start doing one-step plants, like ice skaters. That's what they're called. They're hopping back, landing on it, just to get your body used to your ankle used to your body landing on it, and then they'll start progressively adding in the athletic agility stuff. So that is honestly about 6 to 8 months at that point. So Dak will probably be ready for the beginning of the season. I would, because he's so young, I would think that
Different
possibly,
body too.
yeah,
Than
I
Derek.
would, I would also think that Derek Herstetter would probably be ready to take snaps at the beginning, but he's going to also miss. He's going to miss fall camp, and he's going to miss not fall camp, but spring ball, and then he'll also miss the summer camp. But they'll work him in around the summer camp.
Okay. What about Denzel Okafor? Do you think he's another one that could potentially be a super senior? I mean, there's some guys on the team, K Brewer. Like I kind of,
if I'm Denzel Okafor, I'm coming back. If you still love football and you want to make that second step, I mean, if he doesn't love football and he got his degree, best of luck.
Best of luck. Mm-hmm.
But if he wants to continue to play, I think he needs to come back as a super senior, or he needs to leverage this as an ability to get a free master's degree somewhere else as a grad transfer.
Cade Brewer.
Cade Brewer, same thing. I don't think he's a draftable tight end at this point.
I don't think we've had this conversation on the channel. And if we have, please forgive us for being redundant. But I did see this on some people talking about it. Do you think they did him a disservice by putting that much weight on his body? Because he was a receiving tight end when he came out of Lake Travis. He was more of a, and they tried to make him like Andrew Beck.
Mm-hmm. Tried to make him Andrew Beck.
And Andrew Beck was already that type of player.
And Andrew Beck was a big kid. He was
coming in
260 coming into, I think, like 245. I think he was coming in as a freshman. Do I think so? No, because I think they were trying to make him an every down tight end. Because I mean, for Jared Wiley,
then he had the ACL too,
yeah,
which screwed him up.
Yeah, I honestly don't think that he did him a disservice by doing that. Maybe they didn't just put that on him. Maybe he just took the weight training, and I mean, kids grow from.
Yeah, but doesn't the staff say? I mean, yeah, I get that, but they're like, hey, we want you ideally in, this range because this is how we plan on using you.
Yeah, they do that. But
happening?
if you gain that weight and it's good weight, muscle weight, and you don't, you hit all your target goals, because they have numbers that they have to hit for conditioning drills. If they hit those at that size, they don't care. They want you at a specific time, and if you hit in that time, you're good to go.
I think for me, and I appreciate that insight, I think for me, if people like that are going to come back, and this goes for Brendan Schooler as well, and we'll see what Tariq Black decides to do. You have to, you're not guaranteed any playing time. Like if you're coming back, Jared Wiley's is our best tight end. Jared Wiley's going to play over you. Now you can help and support the team and help. And that doesn't mean you're never going to be on the field or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. But we're featuring our best guys.
Our young guy right now, who's their best right now.
Right. I mean, we say it all the time, right? Like let's say, because right now I think Jared Wiley is a better football player than Cade Brewer, in my opinion. But let's say they were tied, hypothetically, right? Like, so I have a sophomore and a senior that's tied. Who should play? Sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
If you're tied, the younger guy's playing, period. So, some of these guys, it's like, hey, if you're going to stay, cool, but you guys got to get better or else you're not playing. right? Like, I'm not saying they hurt the program or anything like that by coming back. It's just, it has to be a meritocracy again. You know, we can't keep having the same personnel things, because this is one of the many frustrations that people have with this coaching staff, in my opinion. Speaking of the coaching staff, Tran, so we can move on to the second part of the video, which is Crystal Conti's ringing endorsement of one.
Oh, there was an announcement this weekend?
Tom Herman saying that what did you say? What did you tell me before the video? Thank you for stating the obvious, or he stated, like, as I forgot what you said, but he basically was like, Tom Herman's our coach, and you're like, yeah, we know that. And I think they said on a call to the Austin Statesman, I think it was Kirk Bowles or whoever, said that it's insinuated for 2021. So it's the most hollow statement.
So if it's
you can issue.
insinuated, just go forward and put your backing behind them right away. Because what you did is you left
They said
open.
on the phone. They said on the phone. He said
Great. Hey, guess what? Tom Herman's going to be my maid. He's going to be cleaning. I said it on the phone. I didn't say would. He may do it. It's just, to me, it's just ridiculous, and it's insulting to the fans' intelligence on how they're doing it. Because what he's doing is he's hedging his bets on, even if he is the coach by 2021. Say he loses the third game this season, which I think is Arkansas. Is he gone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, yeah, you're opening yourself up to an end season firing potentially. I think it depends. I'm not going to say, yeah, outright, if we lose, he's fired. But I think it'd be one of those things where, depending on how we lost the game, which is very, very slim margin,
Mm-hmm.
now you're opening yourself up to end season. Because people wanted to get rid of the coach in season this year.
He wants to get rid of the coach. This had nothing to do with he has our backing. I would not have minded this actual statement, word for word statement, if this came out 3 days after Urban Meyer reportedly passed on the offer that was presented to him. Because at that point, he's coming forward and saying, "Hey, yes, I know the coaching search has been highly publicized, but Tom Herman is our coach." We've said this.
So, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, you and I have said this entire time. CDC has to do whatever he needs to do in the background to make Texas better. If he can get whoever he wants or whoever he thinks is going to make Texas better, go get it. Don't do all this little shady stuff that everyone knows what you're trying to do, and then just try to play it off and have no mention of anything, and then all of a sudden mention, oh, great win by the Texas basketball team in the Maui Invitational, and like, come on now, it's just a little bit shady in my eyes.
So, I feel slightly differently. I agree with you in terms of the social media and all that type of stuff. Honestly, have a poker face and just handle every program the same, because I think I honestly think, as smart as he is, he's still learning the monster that is Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And that you cannot, like, how you're doing business at TCU, it's a different animal here, bro.
Here.
Right? But he only has so much power. I think we're also learning that this is over his head, right? Like, his bosses are involved. Jay Hartzell's involved. Other people are involved. All these boosters. And because I would like to think that CDC is a pretty understands discretion. I mean, if that's to me, that's part of being an athletic director, is when you have to have these tough coaching searches and hey, we're not going to renew this person's contract, or hey, we're going to have to go in a different direction, things of that sort. What do we want to do? And how can I keep all these loud people, board of regents and donors and everybody at bay? Let's keep the information concealed, and we're moving as a unit together. But when leaks and stuff start happening all over the place and things get sloppy, I don't know with how things played out, what he could have done, because
he could have done.
Yeah, because like now he has to say something, because it's like the recruiting thing is going to happen, and it's a lukewarm endorsement, as we know. But like, what else? What else is he going to come out and say? I was trying to get Urban Meyer. No, right? Like, he can't say that. His cards, doesn't have that many cards to play in this situation. Now, when you look at
what about him not even barely even mentioning Tom Herman in his statement, other than Tom Herman is our coach, is the coach of our football team?
That's where it comes to a couple things. To answer your question and what you said earlier, he doesn't like Tom Herman. I don't think he really cares for Tom Herman. I think that bridge is burned. And some of you we've gone back and forth about this on Twitter, I think that's true. So now you have an issue with your boss doesn't like you, or you don't like the person working that directly reports to you, that covers your biggest revenue generating, track of business, so to speak. But it's also, and this is what people got to understand. Well, because a lot of people are going to comment and say, well, anybody but Herman. There's the anybody but Herman gang out there that's like ready to fire the coach and go hire Bob Shipley or any other ridiculous name. Like, I'm joking, because somebody hit me up and said, what about Bob Shipley? But any other ridiculous name, not even ridiculous name, but names that are, in my opinion, are at best lateral moves outside of Urban Meyer, right? But the issue, what people have to understand, is the money. Like, not only, because we can use Dan Mullen as an example. Texas would then have to go pay, let's say Dan Mullen wanted to come here. Texas would have to go pay the buyout for Florida, pay Tom Herman's buyout, and then do the whole staff and all that type of stuff. While as an athletic director, I'm also trying to get money to fix all the facilities and upgrade the stadium. Like, I still need that money too. Like, now we're talking about excess of $40+ million that I'm trying to fundraise. That's a lot
for a replacement coach that just lost to a terrible LSU team at home when they're playing for a college football playoff spot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and I know
replacing
guys
Tom Herman with Tom Herman, essentially.
Look, and I know people are going to also say, well, Steve, Gus Malzahn, look what Auburn just did. Then aren't they, going to pay a 20? And it's, look, not every situation is apples to apples either, right? Gus Malzahn was there for 8 years, completely different dynamic. Auburn is a, as few people already said to me, Auburn's a football school. I'd like to think Texas is a football school, but we're also having conversations about facilities right now. Again.
Yep.
Like, we're having conversations about certain things in the program being not even up to par. So we've got to, I think Chris Del Conte's just trying to move as calculated as he can. I look at him as a businessman at the end of the day, though. I think he's looking at, like, what's good for business? Texas winning is good for business. How do I get Texas winning, but also maintaining these relationships and managing all the political BS that clouds this program? So I have to be prudent with how I move. And if I can't strike right now, because the other reason why I think there's a disconnect with him and Tom Herman, he didn't hire Tom Herman. Mm-hmm. Tom Herman was here when he got here. And all the controversy in the offseason in terms of how Chris Del Conte wanted all of his coaches to move, and Tom Herman went in a different direction, whether you agree or disagree, right? He in some ways defied orders, and then the leaks came out, which one would think came from Tom Herman's camp. And now I look like I don't have my stuff together if I'm Chris Del Conte. So it's just it unfortunately it's a messy situation, but the money is, I think, more so than anything else, is going to hold them up from making a move that if they can't, the only person they'll spend that type of bread for is Urban Meyer. I think that would be practical,
mm-hmm.
right?
And the donors wouldn't have any issue with coughing up any of the other money too
Yeah.
for the facility upgrades if they got who they wanted to get. So yeah,
Just keep that
I
in
see
mind.
what you're talking about that. But even as the athletic director, you gotta, if you're gonna back someone, don't hedge your bets the way he did it. Like I think if you're really gonna throw in a backing, don't have it coded message in it where everyone says I have to call to get some verification on what he was trying to say. Is he going to be our coach next year?
That's a good point.
You can't
That's a
do
good
that,
point.
and that there was a hidden meaning behind that. So
Yeah. Guys, that's all we wanted to cover today. We are planning, and this is in the works right now, and I think we're going to be able to pull it off, a roundtable live chat tomorrow. And Tran and I will be on there for sure. We're trying to get Brandon and Billy on so we can talk broader college football with you guys. At the minimum, it'll be Tran and I, but I think we'll be able to pull off getting Billy and Brandon on so we can have a four-way discussion tomorrow night.
Brandon's got to jump on and brag a little bit.
Right. He's A&M's having this wonderful season, and he hasn't been on the channel like I thought he would. And then Billy's back from the dead after LSU won. So I can't wait to hopefully we can get them on tomorrow night and live and chop it up. And then Wednesday, so it's a busy week.
I told you Miles Brennan was the truth.
Oh boy. Now it's Max Johnson because Miles.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. They play like 4 different quarterbacks. And still beat them.
They still beat Florida. And Wednesday, National Signing Day, early National Signing Day.
Mm-hmm.
We'll give some sort of recap just on the players and whatnot. I've done that the last couple years now, so that's always a good part. I know a lot of people are saying they're not excited about blah blah blah. Look, I want these kids. These are kids that are going to be signing with the University of Texas. Always an exciting opportunity. There's some really. I'm not here to go on recruiting right now, but there are some guys. I think the staff has made some really good evaluations with some of the people coming in. So you guys can be star whores if you want to, and only look at the stars, or we can, look at huddle tape and see how they could potentially fit in to help us get back on top of the Big 12. And that's kind of the energy I'm coming at it from. I'm not trying to be dismissive of the recruiting issues we've had. This was a very, very disappointing recruiting cycle when you look at what we missed out on. No doubt about it. Can't sugarcoat that. But now we have to move forward because this is really coming to an end. They'll come up. Tran, what would you say? Probably 2 or 3 more kids between now and February if the staff is in place that they, may come in on. But this is going to be pretty much the meat of the class that they sign on Wednesday. So we'll have some coverage there.
That and transfer portal. That's it.
Ooh, good point. Good point. As y'all know, the transfer portal is starting to pop big time. So everybody's talking about people opting out of Texas. People opting out everywhere. Okay. The transfer portal is going to be it's going to be like free agency in professional sports. Let's just be real. There's some really good football players who either have realized through COVID or whatever that they're in a bad situation or the wrong situation, or people's coaches getting fired, and player mobility, they are going to maximize that. We will have players on our team hitting up the portal, and there will be a few people hitting up the portal. So some people that we're excited about. I'm not naming names right now because I don't think anything's official.
Yeah.
But and I'll withhold until even if I know something behind the scenes, I respond when I see it happen and we talk about it publicly. But the portal's going to be crazy, and I think any good team, you're gonna have to work the portal more than you ever have before. You're already seeing big names like Mackenzie Milton, I believe, is going over to Florida State, right? So this is somebody who led UCF to an undefeated season. That's just available. So the portal is going to be stupid this year. So that's another way that Texas has an opportunity. yeah, we're going to lose some guys, but I also have an opportunity to get better. So
Yeah, we have the ability to pick up someone who has college weight training in and also college speed.
mhm.
And so go ahead and get whoever you can to make your team better.
I mean, it's gonna be like recruiting all over again. So
I think it makes college football interesting to have that ability where kids can move
I
from
mean,
school to
shoot.
school.
I know a lot. The old heads aren't gonna like it, but damn it, Gus Malzahn is gonna get paid an absorbent amount of money not to coach
Mm-hmm.
in the same business,
Yep.
in the same sport. So if he's gonna get that type of bread, and now these coaches, and I know people are like, those are coaches versus student athletes. We can have that debate in a different day, but I'm here to see what Texas is able to take advantage of under those circumstances.
I agree.
Tran, thank you, brother, for your time. Guys, we'll be
Always,
back.
man.
We'll be back tomorrow night. We'll start to send out some of the pub and the link for everything, but make sure you hit that like button and show us some love. All right. Before I finish, this is the last thing. We do want to give our condolences to Chance Waz
Chance Waz,
Waz of Baylor, who was a safety and passed away, believe this weekend. It's very, very sad. It's actually a local guy from Pflugerville,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe he was only 24 or 25 years old. And I know a lot of people in the Baylor community are mourning right now. A lot of people in the Pflugerville Round Rock community from Hendrickson, all over that knew him. We've heard nothing but wonderful stories and feedback. It's very, very sad. So those of you guys who knew his family, or if there's anything out there, if there's any ways that people are helping to raise funds for a proper burial or anything like that, please link that in the comments. But we do want to send our condolences to the family of him. All right, guys, we'll be back tomorrow night. Horns always up.